Hi, I'm Zelda Adams, 32 years old, a graphic designer living independently in Fort Worth, Texas. I sat at the family dinner table that evening, fork in hand, as my sister launched into her usual boasts. Look at me. I just got promoted again, handling major accounts at the office. That's real work, not your freelance doodles, she said, smirking across the table. My parents leaned in, my mother patting her arm. We're so proud, she's always been the ambitious one. Then my father chimed in, crossing his arms. Exactly. Zelda, when are you going to get a stable job like your sister? Those designs of yours aren't cutting it. The insults piled on my sister, laughing. Yeah, living alone with your art. You're probably struggling while I'm thriving. Admit it, you're jealous of my career. My sister's boyfriend nodded, adding, She's right. Stop pretending your gigs are anything special. Laughter spread from my aunt, uncle, and cousin, echoing their agreement. I felt the sting, but I smiled inwardly. They had no clue I owned this house, a secret inheritance that gave me the upper hand. As they mocked my unstable profession, demanding I step up and learn from her, I discreetly texted my lawyer friend. The room buzzed with their self-congratulations, but I knew the bombshell was coming. Their words cut deep, reminding me of years being overshadowed, but tonight, that ended. Have you ever been underestimated by your own family? Share your story in the comments, and let's talk about standing up for yourself. The secret of that house traced back to my grandmother, Zelda. She was the only one in the family who saw potential in my drawings from a young age. While everyone else dismissed them as childish scribbles, she would sit with me for hours, handing me colored pencils and saying, Zelda, your designs tell stories, don't let anyone dim that spark. Her encouragement pushed me to pursue graphic design in college, where I honed my skills creating logos and layouts that caught professors' eyes. My grandmother had lived in that Fort Worth home for decades, raising my mother there, and it held memories of her own artistic pursuits. She'd been a seamstress with an eye for patterns. As her health declined a few years ago, she confided in me during private visits. The house is worth $450,000, she whispered one afternoon, her hand steady on mine. But I'm leaving it to you, in my will, keep it quiet. Your family would fight over it, and I want you to have security. I nodded, shocked but grateful, knowing how the favoritism had always skewed toward my sister. When she passed, the lawyer handled the transfer discreetly, putting the deed under a shell company I set up to avoid questions. No one suspected a thing. My parents assumed it was joint inheritance, and my sister continued living there with them, treating it like her domain. I used part of my savings from early freelance jobs to buy my own modest condo in the suburbs, a 2-bedroom place where I could work without interruptions. It was liberating, setting up a home office with my computer and tablets free from the constant comparisons. But the real turning point came when I decided to formalize my career. With the house as hidden collateral if needed, I launched Texas Graphics Hub, my graphic design firm. Starting small, I registered it as an LLC, renting a co-working space downtown for client meetings. The first year was tough, cold calling businesses for branding projects, staying up late, refining websites and marketing materials. But my grandmother's words echoed, design isn't just art, it's strategy. I landed my first big client, a local restaurant chain needing menu redesigns, which led to referrals. Revenue grew steadily from $5,000 in the first quarter to over $50,000 by year 2. I hired a part-time assistant to handle admin, allowing me to focus on creative work like app, interfaces, and ad campaigns. All the while, I kept the house ownership buried, no mentions during family calls, no slips in conversations. My sister would occasionally complain about maintenance costs over the phone, assuming we'd all chip in eventually, but I stayed silent, letting them believe it was shared. Building Texas Graphics Hub became my anchor. I expanded services to include digital marketing, partnering with photographers for photo edits and animations. One project stood out, redesigning a nonprofit's website, which won a regional award and brought in more contracts. The firm now had a portfolio website showcasing client testimonials, and I even sponsored a local design workshop to mentor young artists, paying forward my grandmother's influence. Financially secure, I invested in better software and attended conferences, networking with industry pros. Yet the secret weighed on me, sometimes knowing the house could be my leverage if the family dynamics ever boiled over. My parents and sister remained oblivious, with her still crashing on the couch there, after work, hosting gatherings like it was hers. I visited sporadically, keeping interactions surface level, but tensions simmered beneath. As time passed, their calls shifted from casual to probing, hinting at my isolated life and successes they downplayed. Then came the invitation to another dinner, phrased innocently but laced with expectation. Little did they know my independent world was about to collide with theirs in ways they couldn't imagine. I accepted the invitation without much thought, at first figuring it was just another obligatory gathering. But as the days leading up to it unfolded, the undercurrents of resentment from my family became harder to ignore. My sister Alma started with subtle digs during our sporadic phone calls. She'd ring me up out of the blue, her tone laced with sarcasm. "Heard about your latest client win, must be nice having all that free time to chase hobbies, while the rest of us grind at real jobs," she'd say, implying my design work was a fluke. I brushed it off, initially responding with neutral updates about my projects, but she pressed on. "You're always so independent, living alone like that. Don't you get lonely? I mean, at your age, most people have settled down." Her words carried that familiar edge of jealousy, especially since she'd been stuck in the same mid-level position for years, complaining about it constantly. Living with our parents gave her a safety net, but it also meant she saw my self-sufficiency as a threat. My father, Zane, would sometimes join the calls, his voice gruff over the speaker. "Your mother and I worry about you out there on your own. It's not natural families should stick together. Your sister's got it right staying close." He'd criticize my choices, indirectly praising Alma's stability, while questioning why I didn't visit more or share more about my finances. It felt like they viewed my independence as rebellion, something to be fixed. My mother, Lydia, was more passive but no less involved. During one solo call, she sighed dramatically. "Alma's been helping around the house so much lately. We could use someone like you pitching in too. You're doing well for yourself, why not contribute more?" Her comments often circled back to how my lifestyle seemed selfish, contrasting it with Alma's dedication to the family unit. I sensed the buildup, their collective discomfort with my thriving without them. Alma's boyfriend Floyd amplified it all when he'd grab the phone during group chats. "Hey Zelda, still playing artist? Alma's telling me about her team lead role, real responsibility. You should take notes." His mocking laugh grated, but I stayed composed, knowing their perceptions were skewed. The envy peaked in small ways. Alma would text photos of family outings I wasn't invited to, captioning them with, "Wish you were here to see how we support each other." It was her way of rubbing in that I was the outsider, the one who'd abandoned them for my own path. My Aunt Diana, Uncle Cecil, and Cousin Elmer occasionally chimed in, via group messages, echoing the sentiment. "Alma's such a pillar. Maybe you could learn from her example." My aunt would write, turning casual check-ins into subtle jabs. I kept my responses brief, focusing on work to deflect, but the pattern was clear. My successes were downplayed as luck, while Alma's minor wins were celebrated. As the dinner date approached, the calls intensified. Alma called 2 days before, her voice sharper. "You better show up this time. Mom and Dad want to talk about family matters, don't flake like usual." I detected the ulterior motive, perhaps a push for me to help out financially or emotionally. My father followed up with a text, "We're expecting you. It's time we discussed how you're doing alone." Their disapproval of my single, self-reliant life hung in every word, fueling the tension. I agreed to go, curiosity mixed with wariness, packing my bag with the quiet resolve that this might be the moment things changed. Driving over that evening, I replayed their words, steeling myself for whatever awaited at the table. As I took my seat at the dinner table, the conversation flowed casually at first, but Alma quickly steered it toward her recent accomplishments. She leaned back in her chair fork, gesturing as she spoke. You know, I just led a team project that saved the company. Thousands got a shout out from the boss in the meeting. That's what happens when you commit to a steady career path. Her smile was pointed eyes flicking to me as if challenging a response. Lydia nodded enthusiastically, serving herself more salad. Alma's always been so driven. We raised her to prioritize stability, and it shows. Zane grunted in agreement, cutting into his steak. Damn right. Not everyone can handle that kind of responsibility. The praise hung in the air, and I sensed the shift coming. Floyd, sitting next to Alma, chuckled and added, Yeah, babe, you're killing it. Unlike some people who chase freelance dreams, must be exhausting jumping from gig to gig. He shot me a sidelong glance, his tone dripping with condescension. Alma seized the moment, turning fully toward me. Speaking of which, Zelda, how's that little design side hustle going? Still scraping by on odd jobs? You should take notes from me. Get a real position with benefits. Her words landed like barbs, and the table erupted in light laughter from Diana, Cecil, and Elmer, who exchanged knowing looks. I kept my expression neutral, sipping my water, but inside the frustration built. Lydia jumped in next. Her voice soft but insistent. Honey, we're just concerned. Living alone, no partner, it's not healthy. Alma has Floyd here building a life together. Maybe you could learn from her example and open up more. Zane piled on, wiping his mouth with a napkin. Exactly. Family's about sharing the load. You've got your own place now. Why not chip in here more? We could use help with bills since Alma's handling so much already. The demands escalated subtly at first, then more directly. Alma leaned forward, her eyes narrowing. Come on, admit it, you're jealous of what I've built. Hand over some advice or connections from your clients. Or better yet, contribute financially. It's only fair since we're the ones keeping the family home running. Floyd smirked again, crossing his arms. She's got a point. Pretending to be independent is cute. But at what cost? No one to come home to no real structure. Step up or stop acting like you're above us. The mockery intensified with Diana chiming in. Alma's right, share the wealth a bit. We've all supported you. Cecil nodded. Yeah, learn from her. She's the role model here. Elmer laughed. Totally. Your single life sounds boring compared to their plans. I endured the barrage, my phone in my lap, as I discreetly hit record, capturing every word without them noticing. The air thickened with their self-assured jabs, each one twisting the knife on my failures in relationships and career stability. Alma pushed further, her voice rising. Seriously, Zelda, why hoard your so-called achievements? Pitch in or admit you're out of your depth. Lydia softened it with, We're family, we just want what's best. But Zane's stern look backed it up. Listen to your sister. She's got her head on straight. The extended family murmured agreements, their laughter punctuating the insults, making the room feel smaller. I stayed calm, letting them vent, knowing my secret gave me the edge. As the main course ended, Alma slammed her point home. If you won't share or learn, maybe don't bother with these dinners anymore. Floyd high-fived her lightly, and the group chuckled. That's when I decided enough. My finger hovered over my contacts, ready to summon the truth. I pressed send on the text, my heart steady despite the chaos around me. Within minutes, there was a knock at the door, sharp and insistent. Zane frowned, pushing back his chair. Who could that be at this hour? He stood and headed to the entrance, the rest of the table falling into curious murmurs. When he returned, my best friend and lawyer Bernice trailed behind him, her briefcase in hand and expression professional. Zelda asked me to stop by, she said, simply, taking the empty seat I gestured to. Alma's eyes widened in confusion. What's this about, some legal drama now? Floyd snorted, leaning back. This better not be a joke. I met their stares, evenly pulling out my phone and queuing up the recording. It's time you all heard the truth. Bernice opened her briefcase, spreading out the documents with precise movements. The will, the deed, transfer, the company registration, tying it all to me. This house belongs to Zelda, she announced, her voice clear and authoritative. Inherited solely from her grandmother and legally transferred under her business entity years ago. The room went still. Alma's fork clattered to her plate as she snatched a paper, scanning it frantically. This can't be real. Mom, Dad, tell her this is nonsense. Lydia's face paled, her hand trembling as she reached for Zane's arm. Zelda, what have you done? We thought it was family property. Zane's jaw tightened, his eyes darting between the documents and me. Explain this right now. You've been hiding ownership all this time. Diana gasped, covering her mouth while Cecil muttered, Unbelievable. Elmer just stared wide-eyed. I hit play on the recording, letting their own words fill the silence, the mocks about my career, the demands to share the laughs at my expense. Alma's voice echoed, first sharp and accusing, followed by Floyd's sneers and the family's agreements. As it played, their expressions shifted from confusion to horror. Alma slumped back, whispering, Turn it off. But I let it run, watching the realization sink in. Bernice pointed to key lines in the will. It's ironclad. No joint claims. Zelda has full rights. Floyd tried to interject. This is a setup, you can't just... But Zane cut him off, turning to me with pleading eyes. Daughter, we didn't mean... Let's talk this out as family. Lydia nodded desperately. Please, Zelda, we were just teasing. Don't do anything rash. The begs came fast now. Alma's voice cracking. I didn't know. We can fix this right. Share it properly. Diana chimed in. We're sorry if we hurt you. Family sticks together. Cecil added. Yeah, no need for lawyers. Elmer stammered. Aunt Zelda, come on. But their words rang hollow, the same ones they'd used to belittle me moments ago. I stood, voice firm. No. You've made it clear where I stand. I'm selling the house effective immediately. Find new arrangements. Gasps rippled through the group. Alma bolted up, tears forming. You can't. This is our home. Where will we go? Floyd gripped her shoulder, glaring at me. This is revenge over some words. Zane's face reddened. Think about what you're doing. We're your blood. Lydia sobbed softly. Please reconsider, we'll change. But I shook my head, signaling Bernice to pack up. The decision's made. Listings start tomorrow. The shock deepened, their pleas turning to accusations. Alma shouted, You're heartless. Floyd muttered threats under his breath. The extended family exchanged panicked glances, the laughter long gone. As Bernice and I headed for the door, the weight lifted off me, the underdog no longer silent, the truth finally out. Walking out that door with Bernice, I felt a surge of clarity, the years of suppressed resentment finally released. The next morning, I wasted no time. I contacted a real estate agent and listed the house for sale, pricing it competitively at $450,000 to move quickly. To ensure the message hit home, I added a subtle note in the online listing: family home with history, ready for new beginnings after recent revelations. It was vague enough to avoid legal issues, but hinted at the scandal knowing word would spread in our tight-knit community. By afternoon, the listing went live on major sites, and I shared it anonymously on local forums, letting the gossip do the rest. Calls started pouring in almost immediately. Alma was the first, her number lighting up my screen repeatedly. I let it go to voicemail at first, listening later to her frantic pleas. Zelda, please pick up. We can talk this out. I'm sorry for everything. Where are we supposed to go? This is our home. Her voice broke into sobs, mentioning how Floyd was furious and packing his things, blaming her for the fallout. I didn't respond, blocking her number after the third message. Zane called next, his tone a mix of anger and desperation. This is insane, Zelda. You're tearing the family apart over one dinner. Reconsider, we'll make changes. Lydia followed her messages, tearful. Honey, think of us. Alma's devastated. She's lost without this place. We didn't mean to push you away. Even Diana texted, "As your aunt, I'm begging, don't sell." Cecil and Elmer are shocked. This affects all of us. But I stayed firm, forwarding everything to Bernice for records. The scandal spread faster than expected. Neighbors whispered about the family revelations. And soon, Alma's workplace caught wind. Rumors of the recording leaked through mutual friends, painting her as the instigator in a toxic dynamic. Within days, she lost her job, her boss citing distractions from personal issues. Floyd bailed, ending their relationship via text, unwilling to deal with the mess. My parents faced isolation too. Old friends distanced themselves after hearing the story, leaving Zane and Lydia to scramble for temporary housing. They tried reaching out through email, but I marked them as spam. Meanwhile, I focused on my life. Texas Graphics Hub flourished without the family drain. I secured a major contract with a tech startup for their branding overhaul, bringing in steady revenue. My condo became a true sanctuary where I hosted small gatherings with actual friends who celebrated my wins. I upgraded my home office, adding ergonomic furniture and high-end monitors to boost productivity. As the house sale progressed, offers came in quickly. I accepted one from a young couple eager for a fresh start. The closing happened smoothly, with Bernice handling the paperwork to ensure no disputes. Alma showed up at the agent's office unannounced, eyes red and pleading. "Zelda, I'll do anything, let us buy it back. I've lost my job, Floyd's gone. This is rock bottom." Zane and Lydia stood behind her, looking defeated. "We're sorry, we see now how we favored her. Give us another chance." But their apologies felt too late, laced with self-pity rather than genuine remorse. I shook my head. "It's done. Move on." Walking away, I felt no guilt, only freedom. The money from the sale padded my savings, allowing me to expand the firm with a new hire for social media graphics. Life moved forward. I joined a design network group, traveled to a conference in Austin, and even started dating casually, unburdened by family expectations. Their attempts to contact me tapered off after I changed my number, the silence a welcome peace. In the end, their loss of everything, the home jobs relationship, served as the ultimate consequence, while I thrived in the independence I'd built. With the house sold and the proceeds safely in my account, I took the final steps to sever all ties. I changed my phone number completely, updating only close friends and clients while leaving the family in the dark. Emails from Zane and Lydia bounced back as undeliverable after I blocked their addresses, and I unfollowed and blocked Alma, Floyd, Diana, Cecil, and Elmer on all social platforms. Bernice advised on a no-contact order if needed, but their attempts fizzled out quickly once they realized I was unreachable. The silence was profound. No more probing calls, no guilt-tripping texts. For the first time, I breathed freely, my days filled with purpose, rather than dread. Texas Graphics Hub continued to grow. I hired 2 more designers to handle the influx of projects, turning it into a small team operation. We moved to a dedicated office space in downtown Fort Worth, complete with collaborative areas and client lounges. My personal life blossomed too. I joined a hiking group, explored local art scenes, and even adopted a dog for company during quiet evenings at my condo. The freedom allowed me to travel for work, attending design expos, where I networked and gained inspiration without family baggage weighing me down. Rumors trickled back through mutual acquaintances. Alma struggled to find stable employment after the scandal, bouncing between temp jobs while crashing with friends. Floyd had moved on entirely, cutting her loose amid the drama. Zane and Lydia downsized to a rental apartment, their social circle shrinking as the story spread. Diana mentioned in a stray message before I blocked her that the family gatherings felt empty now, but I didn't care. Their hollowness was their own making. As months passed, I reflected on the journey, solidifying my resolve. Cutting them out wasn't easy at first, but it was necessary. No more second-guessing my worth or enduring their envy disguised as concern. My success was mine alone, earned through perseverance they never acknowledged. From this experience, I learned that jealousy from a toxic family only destroys, and independence is the way to protect yourself. I comment that don't let insults weaken you, use them to become stronger. Everyone should draw lessons. If you're belittled, cut ties early for freedom. The value is in self-respect. Thank you all for listening to my story. Please subscribe to the channel and comment below if you have a similar experience.